Welcome to InfoRights channel. We continue with Spain, but today we're going to see a very particular sector of agriculture, because with the posting of workers, when everybody plays by the rule, it's a very elegant system. It allows for provision of services. It gives access to workers where they are most needed in the European Union for the employers, and it allows employees to earn more than in their home country if the posting is driven by differences in remuneration. However, in sectors like agricultural sector in Spain, it is more tricky, and there is still a lot of precarious work, abuse of employees' rights, and uncertainty as to the legal situation. Despite the fact that the regulations of the Spanish law are quite good, and they, as has been said in the previous episode, they cover all workers who work on the territory of Spain, irregardless whether they are posted workers, migrant workers, or local workers. So why the situation in the agricultural sector is not so good when it comes to employment conditions? Well, first of all, this is kind of work that local workers do not want to perform. The conditions, objectively speaking, of working in agriculture are difficult. First of all, it's hard work, and second, it's very seasonal. It depends on vegetation, it depends on the weather. So there are periods where you can have no work at all. There are periods when you have to work overtime, over hours. For these reasons, for this uncertainty and irregularity, this kind of work is avoided by local workers. And the situation in agricultural sector is this. Spain is the fourth largest agricultural sector when it comes to number of employees in the European Union, following Romania, Poland, and Italy. It hires roughly 810,000 workers. But the labor shortage in the agricultural sector is estimated to be yet another 90,000 workers. Of these 810,000 people employed in agricultural services, 70% are men, 30% are women. 186,000 out of 810 are foreign-born workers, so they are not from Spain, and this represents 27% of the agricultural sector workforce. This is well above the 11% of the total foreign residents population in Spain. So in the agricultural sector we have overrepresentation of third country nationals compared to the entire population of Spain. The Spanish agricultural sector is, for this reason, for these two reasons, a lot of foreigners and unwanted work, plagued with a series of problems that may be endemic. One serious problem is lack of personnel. Nearly 40% of agricultural businesses declare that they find it very difficult or extremely difficult to find workforce, to find workers. Hiring is very unstable. It depends, as I said, on seasonal factors such as weather and vegetation. And working conditions generate basically the rejection from the national workers, the rejection of offers from the national workers. Therefore, to share the share of foreign workers in the agricultural sector has been increasing over the last decade, rising from 20% in 2011 to over 24% in 2022. The highest number of foreign workers was recorded with more than 186,000 employees once the borders reopened after the pandemic. The largest number of migrant workers in the agricultural sector and on the seasonal basis come from, and you will be surprised, Morocco. So it's not all from South America. 33% come from Morocco, and this is the largest foreign group of workers in the agricultural sector in Spain. Now, as has been said in the previous episode, Spain is based on collective agreements. There is a collective agreement management program called GECO from the current Ministry of Inclusion, Social Security and Migration. And this program is reviewed annually to fill, through circular migration with third countries, vacant positions in the sector where there is a high demand for labor. And of course, agricultural sector is the one with the highest demand of labor. This program is helping to reduce unemployment in the strategic sectors. For example, in 2022, unemployment in agriculture fell by 23,400 people, representing a decrease of 12.67 percentage points. This is quite an achievement. However, despite the existence of the program, the agricultural sector still suffers from a large amount of irregular work, irregular labor force, and inadequate labor conditions. Basically, if and when they are hired directly by employers. So, how are the working conditions established in the agricultural sector of Spain? The regulation of any worker in Spain, in addition to the regulation of the Spanish Labor Code, the Workers' Statutes, is established in a collective agreement that applies to the workers. The sectoral area related to the National Code of Business Activities is classified as agriculture, livestock, hunting, and services related to them. And it has up to 52 subcodes such as rice crops, cereal crops, agriculture, fishing, forestry activities, vegetable crops, livestock farms, poultry farming, etc. In this professional sector, there are regional collective agreements established by autonomous communities. There are provincial collective agreements, agreements at a lower level than a company, local or regional, and agreements for groups and companies, and also agreements at a company level. So it's quite a puzzle of different levels of collective agreements only related to agriculture. The total number of existing collective agreements is enormous. As a reference, there are currently 668 provincial collective agreements in force and 398 company-level collective agreements. As an example, we can refer to two collective agreements of a regional and provincial nature. One is the collective agreement for the agriculture sector of the Community of Madrid. It is valid from 2022 to 2026, so it's 5 years in total. And it guarantees the salary increase equal to the previous year's real consumer price index. So the wages are increased automatically every year. Therefore, in the first year, it begins with 6.5% increase, and in the second year, 2023, it is 5.7% increase, with salaries ranging from over 15 euro an hour to now 18, almost 19 euro per hour, both calculated annually on average. The second collective agreement is the agreement for agricultural activities in the province of León. which is provincial in scope. It establishes salaries ranging from almost 13 to almost 15, 14.85 cents per hour, both calculated annually. Now, Article 33 of this agreement for the province of León includes what is known remuneration in kind, so not only in cash, which states the following: when a company provides food, accommodation, or other services to the employee, and these appear in the employment contract as remuneration in kind, the amount for each of these concepts may not exceed the following values: accommodation, 10% of monthly salary; maintenance and other services, 15% of monthly salary. No amount may be deducted for these concepts from extraordinary bonuses or during periods of temporary disability. Situation of precariousness, abuse and violence of rise appears in the agricultural sector for various reasons. The total 810,000 people employed in the agricultural activities, of whom 186,000 are foreigners. Approximately 25,000 more people without employment contract should be added to this. This irregularity in hiring or lack of the contract sometimes results in abuse and lack of protection for seasonal workers, and even violations of their rights due to uninhabitable accommodation conditions. All of this is due to three main reasons. The first is the existence of some pirate agricultural enterprises with a lack of scruples when it comes to obtaining maximum profits. The second is the reality of immigrants who are reluctant to report crimes against themselves because they come to our country, to Spain, fleeing from even worse working conditions. So by comparison, these hostile working conditions appear to them as generous ones, as good ones. And the third reason is the small number of labor inspectors to monitor agricultural activities and the lack of resources. So the legislation is good, but the effectiveness of this legislation is very poor. Within the agricultural sector, there are more cases of labor abuse and lack of worker protection among seasonal workers, or seasonal workers working in specific campaigns, and among day workers in the fields. Complaints are being filed about shifts that last from sunrise to sunset, very low wages, physical and verbal violence or abuse, or restrictions on freedoms to movement or communication with their communities. And this occurs despite the fact that seasonal farm workers are recognized the following right regulated in Article 99.3 of the Royal Decree of 2011, number 557. The employer must provide the worker with suitable accommodation that guarantees, in all cases, adequate dignity and hygiene. And the employer must organize travel to and from Spain and assume at a minimum the costs of the first such trip and the return travel expenses between the port of entry to Spain and the place of accommodation. So as you see, the regulations are there, the law is there, but the execution of law is very hard and very poor.